Hey, this is Gage, and I'm going to walk you through your coach dashboard where you can promote your players, track the recruiting activity, and manage your rosters. Your players have all the tools they need to connect with college coaches on their own, but you can maximize their engagement with your coach tools. Now, first, I'm going to show you how your players find schools that fit them both on and off the field. You click on college matches at the top. We have a little questionnaire here. I'll click female and then the left option for the next four. And here you'll see I've cut it down to 21 matches. If I click see my matches and scroll down on the left hand side, I can filter by ACT and SAT test score as well as GPA. I could select a conference or, for example, a major. If I'm interested in business, I could click that, or something more particular like aerospace, I could search for as well. If I come up and click on Harvard, we're just going to peruse down this college profile. Again, your players will bookmark the schools at the top that they're interested in, and this is where they message the coach. That way they can find something particular about the school to reference when they reach out. You'll see everything on this college profile except this coach tool section. Again, this is going to show you your rosters. You'll see how your players match to the school, so that percent on the right hand side lets us look at their test scores, their GPA, majors of interest, are those offered by the college, as well as their preferences around school size, distance from home and cost, and athletic level, to let you know how your players match. The little meter in the middle, that just tells you how confident we are in the match score, i.e. how much of that criteria we're able to use. And then the check mark means the player's already bookmarked the school or another coach on your staff has. And if not, then you can see a plus sign. So I can see that this is an 84% match for Carson. I'll go ahead and click this. That's going to bookmark the school, send her an email notification that you or whichever coach on your staff clicks it thinks this may be a good school and to check it out. If I come up, I can click message coaches, and that'll let me message the coaches on the staff. So for example, if they're interested in a goalie, I can come down here and see I have two goalies, Maddie as well as Alexandra. I can include them, send those players' information onto the college coaches, and put notes in there as far as why I'm recommending them. And also, if I want to copy some coaches on my staff, I can do that as well. If I come back down on the college profile, we'll just peruse down the page. We'll see a student body breakdown, things like student to faculty ratio, followed by team road trips. So it'll be easy for the parents to see their kids play, commits, and then we can also see the college coaches can list events they run on campus, like prospect days and clinics. You can actually embed that directly on your club website. So here, if you just copy that iframe text or click copy code, what that'll do is put in an embed of all the events listed on the college profiles into a nice embed, so that way when a college coach adds an event, it automatically updates on your website. If I come back down the page, we'll see team videos. So these are things like interviews with coaches, players, behind the scenes documentaries. If I come up to the top and click on the videos tab, we can see we have quite a few curated for the school, and this is a great thing for your players to reference when reaching out to the college coaches to let them know they've done their homework. If I click back to the profile and I come back down to where we were before, the next thing we're going to see here is a virtual tour of the campus. So I think we're looking at the library at Harvard here. If I click that, you can see it's a beautiful day on the campus.
Welcome to Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Further down, we have LinkedIn information, where grads live, where they work, what they do. A great email to college coach is going to say, hey, I'm super interested in entrepreneurship. I see that's the third most popular thing that grads do, and here's my highlight video. Further down, we have niche grades around campus experience, student life, professors, and then academics. We have the 25th to 75th percentile, as well as a more exact distribution. And this is, again, what we're mapping the players against to come up with those match scores. This should be a bell curve. Obviously, Harvard skews to the right. Further down, we have actual admissions data, who got in, who didn't, what their GPA and test scores were, followed by majors by popularity, and then net price by household income. So I like to use Harvard. Most people think of the sticker price here as $70,000. In reality, because there's a large endowment at Harvard of $37 billion, the average incoming freshman is only paying $17,000. Now we do have that broken out by household income. So for example, a family making $110,000 or more is looking at $42,000 on average. Further down, we'll have debt and salary information. So here you can see how much student debt the graduates have. So at the 50th percentile, $6,000. After a grace period, once they graduate, they'll start their repayment. How much principal do they have on average? Here, $7,000, which equates to a monthly payment of $65. Further down, we have salary information. So how much do they make 10 years after they enroll, 6 years after they graduate, of which 84% do graduate on time. At the 50th percentile at the school, it's $90,000. The 9th percentile, it's $250,000. Then we have social feed, followed by campus safety, and then Carnegie classifications, teams in their conference, so their athletic conference, and then similar academic schools as reported by Harvard. If we click to another profile, again, this is where the players will go through and build their target list of schools. Now, the inverse of college matches, which again is where your players go and find schools that fit them, is find recruits. So if I click here, this is where the college coaches are going to go. They can be very specific with what they're looking for. We just looked at Harvard and Brown, for example. They may filter to kids with really good grades. Maybe they're looking for a 21 lefty attack, a certain size, etc., and they can filter to exactly those players. The thing to keep in mind is all the players are ranked bronze to gold based on how complete their profile is. So just like any business wants to be on the first page of Google search results, for the players to rank first to the college coaches, they need to make sure they complete their profile. If I come down to the bottom, I'll just click on a profile. Key thing to keep in mind here, players have unlimited video uploads. It also includes a professional highlight video with their profile that we build. That's where the player's in color and the rest is in black and white. The college coaches do have to log in to see the player's transcript and test scores, and obviously contact information and things like that. If I go back up to the profile, there's a profile link. You can share that directly with college coaches. You could text that, however you want to share that. If I click on a roster, you'll see all the teams are linked here. And what's great is, let's say that this player, Alex, sends an email to a college coach, really likes what he sees, wants to see game film. You can share game film of your teams with the college coaches as well. So maybe while they're watching that film of Alex and they see Alec Moreno, number 12, right above, has a great goal, they can scroll down and see what that player looks like. That looks like the embed. If I show you down here at the bottom, you can also embed your rosters directly on your website. It'll look like this. And this is what the college coach will see below the game film that you share. You can also embed your commits, which is pretty popular. So if I come down here, here's an embed of the commits for this team. So you can embed that as well. As your players update that, that'll automatically update on your website. Next, I'm going to click to the dashboard by clicking the speedometer icon at the top right. Now I'll peruse down the tabs on the left-hand side. So if I click on messages, your players have the same interface they're going to see when the college coach opens their email and clicks on their profile. At the top here, you can message college coaches, players, as well as your teams. One down from there is the activity feed. That's where you're going to be able to monitor your players' interactions with college coaches as well as with your other club staff. So, for example, you can see here when schools are bookmarked for players, when they get messages, database, views of their profile, and you can also filter this by team. Now here we can see we bookmarked a school for Max Piscataway. I can convey if I think it's a great fit, a safety, or a reach. And if I come further down, I can see different kinds of activities. So for example, when college coaches view their profile in video, I can also see down here that this is a school that's not bookmarked for this player. So just like I clicked on that blue plus sign on the college profile earlier, I could click on that. That's going to bookmark the school, in this case, Holy Cross for Max Piscataway. And then I can convey if I think the school's a great fit, safety, or reach. I could also come up here and click on this paper airplane. What that's going to do is open up an email to the college coach, and I can decide which coaches on the staff I want to message, and I'll add that player directly to there so I can send that on to the college coaches. If I wanted to copy a different coach on my club staff, I could do that. If I wanted to include an attachment like a roster of my entire team, I could do that as well. Back on the activity feed, I'll come up to the top, and again you'll see an eye on the right of this activity. So for example, if I were to click on this eye icon, now I'm looking into this player's view. So everything's organized by player, by college. Here I'm looking at all the different sections under a player, Max Piscataway. And here I can say, oh, I haven't conveyed a view on this school. I can add this. And this is, again, all the schools that this player is interested in. I can see if they've tiered them 1, 2, or 3 on the left-hand side. If I see a star, that means the player's completed their profile, and you or they can click to feature themselves directly in that college coach's dashboard. Further down, if I see a blue tab here, that means that there's notes here, so I can see players leaving notes about the schools. And again, this is for you and your players to collaborate on their target list of schools, which would obviously evolve throughout the process. This information is not visible to the college coaches. Further down, if you wanted to leave a note saying, hey, yeah, this is a great fit, go ahead and reach out, you could do so. And then at the bottom, you can also add schools. So maybe you think this player should incorporate maybe some D3 schools to their list. You could go ahead and click on Drew, add that to the list. Let's say you're going to have a call or sit down with a player. You can download a list of their, and then analysis is a deeper dive into those schools, and then Rex helps you populate that list. Now, what's really popular is our auto Rex feature. That way, every time a player has a rec over a certain percentage, so let's say 75%, which would be Princeton, Rutgers, and Maryland in this case, you can automatically notify them. So what you would do is come up and click on the team here, Demolax Girls, and you would click here to turn that on. This here, that makes sure that you only recommend schools if you've set that athletic level. So if I come down here and I look at this blue band, that's the athletic level you set for a player. So if you say a player is a D2, D3 player, even if they have straight A's and a perfect SAT, it's not going to recommend Harvard. So if I come down the page, you can see, and we'll go down to Max, who we were looking at earlier, her self-assessment, which is that gray band, is low D1. So you can say, you know what, I think she's a high D1 player. I want to show her the top 50% D1 schools. And that way, only schools in that band are going to be showed to that player. Now you can see not everyone has a check mark for all the criteria, and that's that matching criteria. What's nice is you can click on this link here. That's going to message all the players that are missing stuff. So in that case, 13, and the 3 that do have everything won't get an email. And I'll let them know exactly what they're missing and how to get that in. Here you can also decide which coach you want that message to come from, so a different coach on each team. And then here you can decide what you think the minimum threshold should be. If I go one to the left to activity, that's going to show you as your players are logging in, completing their profiles. And we have a nice link where you can send all the players a message letting them know what they need to get in. So for in this case, the players that have complete profiles, so for example, Shannon and Max, they're not going to get a message. However, Paige and Sabine in this case, we can see here they're missing events that they're attending, so that lets the college coaches know where they can see that player in person. So it's going to send them a message to get that in there so that they can complete their profile, which again links back to what we were talking about earlier in the Recruit Finder, where players with complete profiles rank first. And last, if I come down and click on Max Bagataway, for example, I'll see the activity feed, but just for this player. So for example, earlier you saw when we bookmarked North Carolina, now I can see that's in there. It's been added to her bookmarks. However, I haven't conveyed if I think it's a great fit, safe to reach, which I could do now. Now I'm going to hop back to the tabs on the left-hand side. So if I come down to profile info, this is just basic information about yourself. Keep in mind, players that have profile pictures showing their face typically have more clicks than players with a zoomed out action shot. One down from there is profile videos. Again, players have unlimited video uploads. Any YouTube Vimeo link they can go ahead and put, or a file, they can just drag and drop it right here. Below that's the video library. So this is where you can upload and share film with your teams. Again, you can decide which teams you want to share it with, and we have a video that walks you through that on the video organizer. What's really cool here though is that this summer this is going to become interactive. What that means is that players will be able to tag each other as they're building their highlight videos, and those plays can be up and down voted. As a coach, you'll be able to come in here and tag your players as well. So the key is players have a highlight video included with their membership, but now when they start building their highlight video, hopefully they'll have 7 or 8, 10 plays already located, which will make it much easier for them to complete that. 2 down from there is the video organizer. Here, if you click at the top, we have a video that walks you through uploading, sharing film with your teams as well as college coaches. If I go 1 up, this should be your company tab. If I come down, we have team progress. This is just getting things complete here. So for example, we see that we've added events for all this team, but we could add some video and share it with the teams as well. So these are things that you can control to make sure that your players are being nudged along. You can see admin activity. You can see one of the other coaches on your staff are logging in. And then here we have high level activity, which colleges your players are most interested in, which college coaches are interacting with them the most, which players are getting the most traction on their profile. Next, I'll scroll up to the top and I'll click on the Manage tab. So this is where you can edit things about your company. For example, if you have a video about your program you want to put in there and promote. If you have any events like tryouts, or if you run an event like a showcase or something like that, you can add that here as well and promote that in our directory. If I click edit, if it's a style of an event that has college coaches attending, you can put the coaches that are attending. I used Drew earlier, for example, and you can say that those colleges are attending. That's going to show up on that college's profile, and that way players that are interested in that school will see that that's an event that they can come and perform in front of those coaches. If I click back to Demolax Girls and I come over to coaches, this is where you're going to edit which coaches are on your staff and their permission. So for example, I'll come down and click on the pencil icon. I can decide if the coach is an admin. That means they're going to see these tabs on the left hand side, so all the recruiting activity. Maybe I don't want to have them be an admin for all the teams, maybe just some of the teams. And if they're not, I could still list them as being public. That way a college coach could see that as someone to message about that player without them necessarily having all the admin access in the back end. They could also be a company admin as well. If you have a coach that you want to add, go ahead and search for their email here. If they're already in the system, you'll be able to sync their profile, or you'll be able to create their profile, which they can take control of. Next is the social feed. So every time your players build their highlight video or commit, we're creating a social media post about that, and we're separating it for Instagram and Twitter in case they have a different handle, and we're kind of pre-populating all this information, so it's literally just copy and paste for you to promote on your own channel. So for example, if you click on this cloud download, that's going to be an edited social media square. It's going to have your logo in the top left. It's going to be one of the plays from that player's highlight video, typically the one they replay or one of their first plays, and we're going to cut that up for social media, and then you can promote that on your own channels. That way parents and players can follow you to see action of themselves and their teammates. One down from there is the team calendar. Here, this is important so that you can add these events to the players' profiles so college coaches know where they can see them play in person after checking out their highlight video, etc. So let's say, for example, that you're going to Summer Genesis, and hopefully I'll see you there. I can add that event, decide which team is going, and I can also put notes down here. So for example, there's notes here that are visible to just your coaches, so maybe where to meet beforehand, or public notes, something I want to convey maybe to college coaches. And then there's also player notes. Again, those would show up in the player's recruit calendar. And what they can do is also confirm their attendance. So if I click by team at the top, Demolex Girls 2016, and then the grind, what I can do is see my roster and which players are coming, maybe players that haven't confirmed a status, yes or no, and then which players aren't going, and they can put notes in there to explain maybe they have a test on the first day or something to that extent. You can also edit this, so say for example you speak with Casey and now she's going, you can change her status to a green check mark. If I come back to the left hand side, again you can always click on the tabs here to navigate around. I'll click on assign players. That's the next one down. This is just moving players to different rosters, or for example updating their number. If you're going to share the film with the college coaches, you want to make sure they have the right number listed there. One down from there is the player database. So this is kind of an internal feedback system. If I hit this pencil icon and expand this out, what I can see here is tag notes, so I can have other coaches on my staff come in and leave kind of raw feedback about the player. I can put in different slider ratings here around engagement, coachability, stick skills, etc. And I can summarize that raw feedback into general comments, something I'm comfortable sending to the player and the parents. Now, what you enter here is not visible to the player, parents, and obviously not the college coaches. You can share that as feedback. So that's going to look like this. It's going to open up an email. You can copy the parents and it'll put in the information here. If you have an attachment, you can include that as well. You could also copy different coaches on your staff. The key here is that this could be things like what the player could work on in the off season. So again, it's not visible to them unless you share that feedback. What is nice, however, is that you can use this for all your teams, not just your high school team. So for youth and middle school, it can be a great way to share feedback with your families. I'm going to close that and then quickly touch on evaluations. So here we have an evaluations tool that's free to use for all ages, so middle and youth as well as high school. And what you'll see here is live what your other coaches on your staff are doing. So you'll see their initials here. If you see a little lock icon, that means they're an admin. And what you do here is on the left hand side. Now if I click here, you'll see this green cloud will go to yellow. And what that means is that it's actually saving in the background like an app. That way, if you're out on the cross field or wherever and you don't have great service, you don't have to worry. It's not saving every time you put in information. It's saving in the background, so it's not going to slow you down. If I come down here, you can click on the question mark. That's just going to have a legend that kind of walks you through all the key stuff. And if I click on this gear icon, that's going to take me back to where I was before. And there's a separate evaluations tutorial that will walk you through all the steps. Now if I come back on the left hand side, I'll click on Demolex Girls 2016, and I'll just go from the left to right. So here we have the profiles tab. If you come down to the bottom, you can download a roster. So for example, if you're going to a tournament, you need to submit a roster. It's an easy way to get all that information organized. You can also click on commit status and update the player's commit status. They are also able to update their own commit status. On bookmarks and the other tabs, you're going to see everything organized by player, by college. So for example, we were looking earlier at Max Bigataway. This will be her list of bookmarks. If I click back to the team and I come down and click by college, now what I could do is click on Amherst, the third one down, and I'm reaching out to the coaches here on behalf of Max and Midi, and they say, you know what, we already have a Midi for that year. What we're looking for is attack. I'll see I have two attack players, Casey and Shannon, with Casey being tier 1, so very interested in this school. So what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll click on message coaches, and when I open up that email, I'll be able to decide which coaches on the staff I want to message, and I'll be able to come down here and click the plus sign in front of those two attack players, Casey and Shannon, and then send that on the way to those college coaches. If I come back up to the top, I'll be able to see messages, tracking, and all the information here for the school. I can go back on the left hand side. Again, you can always navigate back that way. One to the right of bookmarks is tracking. So neither bookmarks nor tracking are visible to college coaches. Bookmarks is visible to both you and the players to collaborate on their target list, while tracking is only visible to you and your staff. So for example, if Max bombs their SATs and the recruiting trail dries off at Army, you can put that in here without sharing that with Max. If I click back on the team link, messages, again, organized by player, by college. If I come down here, I can click on Max again, and I can see the messages between Max and college coaches, the coach opened the email, clicked on her profile, etc. I'll come back up to the team link. And if I continue to the right, coaches, if you want to assign different coaches to Deleted Kids recruitment, you can. This manage link takes you where we were earlier, where you can edit which coaches are on your staff. We already talked about activity and recs. Again, that's how players are logging in, and then auto recommending schools to players. The last one to the right is manage. Here we have a separate tutorial video that walks you through adding, authorizing, and removing players from your team. But if I click on edit info, I just wanted to come down and touch on auto endorsements. So for example, instead of endorsing each player individually, let's say that you want to auto add endorsement for all the players on a team. A lot of coaches will do this, so it'll say, text me directly, or however you best want to be contacted by college coaches. You can put that in there. If there's a custom email template, certain things you want them to touch on when reaching out to college coaches, you can put that in here as well. And also, if you want to designate one coach on the staff to be the quote-unquote coach to contact, you can do that as well. Again, this was all feedback from our club partners, so if there's any ways that you think we can improve the platform, we definitely want to hear from you. The last thing I want to mention real quick is if I come up to the top and click on the commit tab, here you can have your players come and submit a commit story. That's going to be, why did you choose this college, who would you like to thank, any honors, etc. And that'll go into that social feed and kind of pre-package, for example, blog posts. If you wanted to post this story on your own website, you could get that fed to you through your social feed. So again, the players can go through, and it's just clicking on this commit tab, and you can share that with them to make sure they get that in there, and we'll promote that along with our media partners. Thanks again for your time.